What is up, everybody? Joe Quills here with you on this Wednesday night, another edition of the Joe Quills Show. Starting a little early tonight because Chef Tom is under the weather tonight, from what I found out. So, last minute decision to move ahead with the show and starting at 9:15. So, well, about 9:20 we started tonight. One thing I will say to you guys is always it. Well, even though am going to both YouTube, I'm going to YouTube and X as well as my Twitter. And we're going to be adding more in a couple of weeks because, tax refund. Um, we are going to, I'm going to eventually go onto the Bleacher Brothers Twitch as well. But the, the preferred method to follow me on these platforms is my Twitch at Joe Quills, because if you go to twitch.tv/Joe Quills and you subscribe, and you download the app on your phone or your tablet or iPad or whatever you call it, the crazy thing that does wonders. You too can get those alerts right away, and you'll be like, "Oh crap, Joe is starting. I want to hear what he has to say tonight." Well, not really, but nah, but we're you know just have some fun here tonight, and we'll get everything. We'll get through the night here, and I wasn't planning on a long show tonight, but maybe we do. So, do have some updates for you, Bleacher Brothers related. Um, and this is, I didn't make note of all of it because the interview was done um, at the start of Bleacher Brothers show, which is at 7 o'clock, and I was actually working, so I had to buy him down. So, and I made a comment in the chat because I kind of heard it, but um, Bleacher Brothers is in a partnership with um, Jesus Christ, I can't even think of the name of the Top Fan rivalry. Jesus Christ. Um, so they do. So they're on Top Fan rivalry. Bill Perkins was on the show. They checked in with him because part of the reason was he lives out in L.A. and we all know about the forest fires or the wildfires. I call them forest fires because in New Jersey, when it hits, it's usually in the Pine Barrens, that area in New Jersey. So, um, so Top Fan rivalry. I definitely know Monday. I think Wednesday and Friday as well. So I don't stream on Friday because I take off Friday so I can prepare for also eligible on Saturday morning. So so probably next week. I'll have to check with AJ with when the times start, but um, we are going to have more of a hard out come uh, next week or the week after. So just want to let you guys know that that was announced today. And, Top Fan Rivalries, a bunch of great people, and we're glad that we're working with each other here as well. And who knows, maybe I get on there every once in a while. But right now I'm still in football mode, as you can tell here, wearing the Super Bowl champions hat, because we finally got one a few years ago, and hopefully we get another one this year. But uh, not much in the way of football talk tonight. Well, going to talk Quinn Ewers there for a second. A crazy streak ended in college basketball last night. I'll tell you about that. Browns are being sued by the city of Cleveland. I'll tell you what that's all about. And I actually was alerted on this a couple of weeks ago. Um, a great YouTube channel, Brody Brazil, Brodie Brazil. Brazil is in the country. He's got some great content there. I was alerted to this a couple weeks ago, so I have a kind of an idea what's going on here. And finally, where in the world is Diontae Johnson? Well, I'll tell you about that as well. So, but we're gonna have some fun here tonight. Don't think we'll be on till 11 because I was planning an hour to an hour and a half show tonight because normally we start at 10. But also, you know, download the Bleacher Brothers app, Bleacher Brothers Sports Network app. You can listen to the show wherever, on the go, whether you're driving somewhere, walking somewhere, because everybody has the unlimited plans now, right? For data. So, you can just walk around the neighborhood, get your steps in, and hey, listen to us. Got so many great shows coming online, and I'm excited for it. I'm not, I'm probably talking about Bleacher Brothers too much, but it's just part of the group that we have, and uh, doing a lot of great things. And last week we were at the Hula Bowl. This next week, yours truly will be live from Gulfstream Park. Can't wait for that. Actually, get to see a track there that even though I have criticized because they made it larger and everything, but we won't get into that. But a lot of stuff going on, and hopefully you follow us and also follow Bleacher Brothers Twitch. Even though I'm not on there right now, we will get to there as well. So, but cold day here in Philly, and it is looking like we are going to have a snow game in Philadelphia. Um, Now, let me just confirm the latest here. Okay, they are saying snow. They're saying it's going to snart, shart, start. It's going to start before the game. It's only going to be a couple of hours with the snow, but it'll be pretty much the length of the game. It's going to be in the low 30s, which means it'll accumulate. So, and it's not going to be much in the way of snow, 1 to 2 inches as of right now, according to the weather app. But we are 4 days away from the game. So, and the one thing, the meteorologists, they will start zeroing in on how probable it is tomorrow. I won't do it until Friday, but that's just me. And I don't have to go onto the TV and say, get your milk, get your bread, get your eggs, all that stuff. I don't do that, but it is what it is. So, but uh, fun weekend coming up here in Philadelphia. And just want to remind you before we get started here, yeah, we are going to be um, we are going to be down at Gulfstream Park next weekend, but this weekend I will be in Studio 213, as I affectionately call this place from time to time, and we are going to have racing from the fairgrounds. They have a couple of big stakes races there. They got a race for the Kentucky Derby Preps, one for the Kentucky Oaks, and that show will start at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Bleacher Brothers Network. So feel free to join us Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. That is on the Bleacher Brothers Facebook, the Bleacher Brothers YouTube. My it's been on my Twitch. We need to get the Twitch back up for them for Bleacher Brothers, and also Bleacher Brothers X. So we're slowly getting closer to the Kentucky Derby, but we have that little side trip coming up. That side trip down to South Florida, and looking at the weather right now, it does it does look like I will be able to get out of Philadelphia on Thursday and next Thursday because no snow is in the forecast. They did say that originally, but looking right now at Hallandale Beach, where we'll be on Saturday at Gulfstream, uh, going to be near 80 degrees on Thursday and Friday. So my pasty white legs will be out and about. Well, not on Saturday. I'm going to dress somewhat nice, but you get the idea. So, but I admit I did not have a major story to talk about here. Well, you know what? We're going to add one thing here, and I know everybody's sick of talking about this. I know people are talking about um, the guy who made the video, and of course, the one question that one of Philly's sports media said was, "Well, where's the whole video?" Excuse me. And truthfully, viral videos are only a snippet of what really happened. So we don't know what happened between 4:30 and approximately 6:15 when he started dropping the C bomb at that woman. Now, apparently, from what I saw, the guy's a douche as well because he had a GoFundMe to go to the Eagles game or some shit like that, or I don't know what I don't know what it was off the top of my head, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Ryan Caldwell, who is the Eagles fan that got banned from the link and lost his season tickets, all because he probably had too much to drink and thought, hmm, let me intimidate somebody in this Green Bay garb and go from there. But instead, he's out of a job right now. So he broke his silence on the Vile video. And we're not going to play the video tonight. We played it last night. So the woman's name was Allie Keller. She's a females Packer fan from Landenberg, Pennsylvania area. Well, we know he's from Landenberg, so I guess she is too if they live together. But don't have to be living together to be engaged, right? Well, nowadays you nowadays you probably move in the first time you fuck. But anyways, Ryan Caldwell, he's a disgrace. He's the disgraced Eagles fan. He dropped the C bomb, and I say C bomb after I said the word fucked. But anyway, he issued an apology on Wednesday after he was fired from his job with a DEI focused company and banned from all future events at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Well, the irony is that the company is focused on DEI and he's doing one of the worst things to say to a woman on camera. Now, but I also said, well, wiretap laws are recording, I personally think, does he have a chance in court because, you know, in Pennsylvania, both sides have to acknowledge that they're recording this. So, but I think, yeah, I mean, especially when uh, well, not even a telemarketer, but just like like bill collectors and stuff like that call you, and even just business to business and stuff like that. They're calling from a call center. We're this call may be recorded for whatever, but it's mostly for training. But if something were to happen where you drop a c word, I can see that. But the intention is not for that in business to business. But in this case here, I mean, that's something that I wonder, but it's just me. But um, so Caldwell explained in a statement to the Post that the video circulating online does not reflect the full context of what transpired. And my actions were not without provocation in the incident, which took place during the wild card game on Sunday. Well, here's the thing. Is there more to that video? Yes. Will we see it? Probably not. And I'm okay with that because guess what? You know what they say, two wrongs don't make a right. And four lefts get you back to your original spot. But in most cases, especially in Center City. But if you if we were to see the whole thing, and even if um, Allie, even if Allie was being an actual C word, which other than mocking him while he was calling her the C word, other than that to her fiance, you know, I don't see I don't see any way that you can defend him for what his actions were. I mean, we know that the C word is a nuclear word. We know that. The thing is, some people use it a little more freely than others. And we don't know if he uses that a lot or, if he just tries to comply with the DEI stuff that his former company promoted all the time. I don't know. I don't know anything about the company, and nor do I care. Unless, they walk into a business that I may be working at. It's like, okay, well, I see what you're doing and let's work together. But um so he heckled the fan. Uh and things happen. But anyway, while attending the game, he says, while attending the game, an NFL game last Sunday to support my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, an incident occurred that I deeply regret. What began as banter between two Packers fans sitting near me escalated to something more serious, and I said things that were unacceptable. In the heat of the moment, I chose unforgiving words to address one of the fans, Miss Allie Keller. I want to sincerely apologize to Miss Keller for those words and to my wife, family, and friends, my former employer and colleagues, Packer fans, Eagle fans, Philadelphia Eagles, City of Philadelphia, and all who they offended. I'm surprised he didn't apologize to his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ because that's the only thing that he left out. That said, there are two sides to every story. The video clip circulating online does not reflect the full context of what transpired, and my actions were not without provocation. I will live with this experience. I'm certainly paying a personal price. For those that don't know me, this incident does not reflect my values or the respect I have for others and is not indicative of the person I am. But the thing is, and I say this all the time whenever there's a viral video, what happened 15 seconds prior? What happened 30 seconds prior? What happened 5 minutes prior? We don't know that. And but I will say that two wrongs don't make a right here. I just think that even if you are acting up like that, I mean, there's three options that this guy had, her fiance. He had a choice of recording it, which he did, texting the Eagles text security line if they still have it there. Obviously didn't, from what we know. Or three, go violent on them, which he knows was not a good thing because they're wearing Packers gear, and about 50 drunk Eagles fans will swarm in and join the fray. So you're not going to win a battle like that. So, I mean, I salute him for doing the video, and there probably isn't. We probably will never see what happened. The only people that will probably know what happened is those hidden security cameras at the Lincoln Financial Field because they do have hidden cameras and they can see when something goes on. Like for example, let's say I texted the guy in section 223, row 15, don't know what seat, dropping the C word left and right at this Packers fan. If I wanted to do that, if I didn't join in because I was drunk, but I haven't drank in 6 or 7 years. If they still have that system, they can zoom in and see what's going on here because some people will just put some dumb shit on there because let's get them going. So I think the only video that we would see is Eagle security video, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to release that information. So you know, is there do I wish there was more video there? Yeah. Do I accept his apology? No. Do you deserve to lose his job? Yes. So, um, So Keller's fiance, Alexander Becerra, filmed the entire altercation, which took place in the stands at Lincoln Financial Field during the Eagles win on Sunday. Um, Becerra said that the heckling was unprovoked while he and his fiance were cheering for the Packers. It was a tough situation, he wrote, surrounded by hostile people, including two of his buddies, one his brother. That's added by the New York Post, by the way, where I found this article. If I got physical there there was no good ending there. So he had the smarts. So good for him for knowing what he did. Now I'm gonna regret looking at these. Um, okay, so at the end of the day, we're all 100% responsible for our own actions. True, that's what I've been saying. Um, uh, One guy says, yeah, he's blaming the person he verbally assaulted for the incident. The apology makes it worse. Yeah, because I don't, because he's only, and I said this today, and did I say it on, no, I did not share it on there. Okay, so I said it on my personal Facebook page, and I said it only because, um, um, I said it on my personal Facebook today, so only a select few got to see this. Why was he apologizing? He was caught on camera, he got ID'd, and he got fired. And that's what happens a lot of times when somebody apologizes publicly. They apologize publicly because it's not sincere, it's because he got caught. And he got caught, he lost his job. Goodbye, farewell. Welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order? Or if he wants to work at Burger King, you know, he could start singing Ding Fries Are Done because that's what his job is. Ding Fries Are Done. So, um, you know, I don't, and this is exactly what, and the thing is because Eagles fans threw snowballs at Santa, even though, I even said it on one show this afternoon. I typed in Santa deserved it laughing. But, but the thing is, they still run with Santa 60 years later. You know, oh, Eagles fans, Philly fans, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you, San Francisco fans are right up there with us, the Niners fans. Because one fan beat the shit out of a woman. How did that not get major news? But whatever, you know, or was it the Rams? But either way, you always hear about the Niners fans fighting and shit like that. Um, but because it's Philadelphia, we're going to go after them. But you know, I don't condone what he did, nor do I. I mean, even if I was an Eagles fan at the game, I probably would have knocked them the hell out because he was probably drunk off his ass, and I don't think that 50 Eagles fans will swarm if it's an Eagle fan on Eagle fan fight, but and that's the one thing I said to people, if you're going to go to the Eagles game, just don't wear the other team's gear because that's what it's about. So I wanted to add that here because I did see that popped up on my phone earlier today, and I wanted to share hopefully the final note about this, and um, hopefully we don't have to deal with this clown anymore, and either clown that's in this, either guy. So, but you know, whatever. So, going to get to the main portion of the show here, and well, what was planned. Well, that thing I realized, oh shit, I have an update on that. So, but feel free to chime in whether you're watching on the Bleacher Brothers YouTube, my YouTube, my Twitch or the Bleacher Brothers X. If you're watching on the Bleacher Brothers X, I will see it. It's just that I won't be able to reply as a chat. If I share anything on Bleacher Brothers um, uh, on in the combined chat here, it just won't go there. So, but it's not done on purpose. Just the program that we use for this. So feel free to chime in, and uh, if you got something to say, bring it forward. I'm very open to hearing what you think about certain things here. Um, so I did see today Quinn Ewers, not Clint or Quint or whatever I was trying to say. Quinn Ewers has declared for the 2025 NFL Draft. His career, the decision ends a career at Texas that saw him revive a program that went from 5-7 in 2021, and he led the Longhorns to the only two college football playoff appearances, which were each in the last 2 years. He went 21-5 as a starter the past 2 years. Um, he led Texas to wins at Alabama and at Michigan. He led it to the Big 12 title in 2023 and consecutive CFP wins over Clemson and Arkansas State this season. Those are the only college football playoff victories that they have since the format began in 2014. So Texas, I mean, I don't know how much stock you put into this year's uh, because you can win 2 games and not make the final. But he played 36 games for the Longhorns after transferring from Ohio State. He threw for 9,128 yards and 68 touchdowns in 3 seasons in Austin, completing almost 65% of his passes. His decision does not come as much of a surprise. He told ESPN's College Game Day in an interview that aired before the Cotton Bowl on Friday that he did not expect to return to college football next year. So, uh, I'm sure some people in Austin were hoping for one more year. I'm sure Arch Manning was not, even though you want to be a team player and all, but Ewers is going pro. He was asked what he thought what his Texas legacy would be. Ewers said, "A great teammate that pushed his teammates to be the best that they could be, but pushed himself to be the best that he could be." So he's able to say things like that, and one of the best to ever do it here. So um, he's finished fourth in wins by a Texas quarterback with 27, tying Sam Ellinger, and trailing only Colt McCoy at 45, Vince Young at 30, and Bobby Lane at 28 per ESPN research. Um, Now, there's a wild variance of opinions from scouts here. Doesn't say what they're saying exactly, but his 3 years in the offensive system with Texas coach Steve Sarkisian, pure arm talent, consistent production will be positives. He's expected to perform well in the workout and interview portions of the draft process, with time in a sophisticated offense a positive in the eyes of the NFL. So they're he should adapt to what professional offense he goes to because he was in Sarkisian's offense here. Now, with his departure, that means Arch Manning will be the starter as of right now for 2025. Um, he's the son of Cooper Manning, grandson of former quarterback Archie Manning, and nephew of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks Peyton and Eli Manning. Arch threw for 939 yards and 9 touchdowns and ran for 4 more this season. Um, so you can mark Ewers down, and who knows, maybe And the thing is, I don't know where he would be right now in the draft, but I'm sure once the mock drafts start coming out in full force, we'll see where he is, and who knows, maybe he's a guy that can take over a team for some lower team right now. Or would the Steelers take a chance, for example, off the top of my head, because of the fact that they probably don't want they probably don't want to bring Russell Wilson back, and and probably Justin Fields. He may go somewhere else. Who knows? But we'll find out. Um, so excuse me. I don't know what that's for. That wasn't a burp or anything. That's just me gargling for whatever reason. But anyways, um, so we'll get on to our next story here, and this is um, just a goofy stat here. Probably it eventually gets passed in a few years. Well, probably 5, 6, 7 years from now. But um, Iowa State had their streak broken NCAA record of 3-pointers in games. Their streak ended at 945 consecutive games with at least one 3-pointer. Now, granted, that probably will be broken in a few years because if you think about it, in the men's game and also the women's game, when the 3-point line first came into existence, and we'll go briefly through the history of it, you know, it was first the ABA that had the 3-point line, and then the NBA eventually adopted it. So from there, college brought it in. Like, you saw it in conferences, like in conference play now and then, and you had different locations for the 3-point shot. I mean, the ACC when they first had it was ridiculously short, but you know, but as the game has changed over the years, and kids were growing up playing and using the 3-point shot more and more, and as a result, you go from high school to college to the pros. Oh yeah, now we're shooting more 3-pointers, and it just evolved into what the game is now, which is either a dunk or a three. The mid-range jumper isn't around much anymore, but um and the thing is, like for example in the early 80s, you look at the box score and you see, hey, Larry Bird had three-pointers last night. Oh, he had all three of them because they only took 7 3-pointers for the game. Now you can't you can't look at a you can't look at an NBA 3-point list without seeing that you have 30, 40, 50 3-pointers per team, and a player attempts 7 to 10 a night. So the game has evolved because the the kids that are coming up now through AAU, rec leagues, high school, college, they had that 3-point line their whole life. And, they've been working on that shot for years and years and years. Where when the 3-point line first came into the NCAA officially, and also um, in high school, it's like, oh shit, what's this? That sort of thing. But some people took advantage of the 3-point shot, like, for example, Loyola Marymount during the Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball days. And, you know, but it's also evolved because of the fact that you have everything, ready to go here. So when you hear a team not making a 3-pointer, you have to like say what? But but um on Tuesday night, Iowa State defeated Texas Tech 71-58, but they went 0 for 7 from long range. The streak dated back to February 19, 1995 at Colorado. That was in the Cyclones' final season under coach Teresa Becker when Iowa State was still in the Big Eight. And you're going to hear crazy things like this uh, throughout this story here because just some crazy stuff that you're hearing here. Um, Coach Bill Fennelly took over the next season, has led the program to 22 straight tournament appearances, three Big 12 tournament titles. The most recent was in 23. He's always championed the three-pointer as a staple of his offense, and under his guidance, the Cyclones never played a game without making at least one three-pointer until last night. Um, Now, just to put this streak in perspective, and remember, this was from 1995 that this was going on. The last time Iowa State did not make a three-pointer in 1995, the WNBA did not exist. That launched in 1997. UConn had not yet won any of its 11 NCAA titles, the women. Their first title came about 6 weeks later in 1995. Team USA's streak of 8 consecutive gold medals had not started yet. That was in 1996. So, some crazy stuff that you're seeing there that had not occurred yet from the last time Iowa State did not have a three-pointer in a game. Um, Fennelly said on how the Cyclones were more focused on getting points in the paint against Texas Tech against shooting threes. He said, "We only shot 7 of them, so we really didn't care. If we were really worried about the record, we probably would have run about 15 more plays to get one." So, and this isn't the fake sportsmanship shit that Coach K said, where we're up 8 points here. We don't need to shoot a three. Let's run the clock out. Because everybody has to run the clock out in the final minute because, oh my God, I would rather you shoot a shot and miss and the clock continues to run or make the shot, so what, it's all part of the game. But, um, but Fennelly also said it's I get it's a big deal to some people, but it's a big deal to us. I'm proud of the streak. The streak was there, but it's just like a kid getting a triple double. I'm not leaving them in the game just to get stats. We ran 2 plays to get a three, and both were in the first half. So, um, and it's the course of the game and knowing your opponent and what you have to do to win. And he said, we're going to pound the ball inside, and they did that, and they won. So nothing really worth mentioning. Nothing really to worry about. You got the win. That's the most important thing. And I stress this even with some of the other conversations I have. I'm not worried about what individuals do. What's the score at the end of the game? Okay, we have more points than they do. Okay, we won. And especially with the Eagles in the playoffs right now, survive in advance, survive in advance. So now the Cyclones are typically one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the Big 12 in the nation. This season, they are third in the league with 151 threes made. TCU leads with 177. They're going to look to begin a new streak on Sunday when they visit West Virginia, at West Virginia. Chattanooga now has the active women's streak right now at 790 games, according to Stats Perform. The men's active leader right now is UNLV at 1,243 games. Duke is 1 game behind the Running Rebels, and that probably will eventually go to Duke because Duke will probably have more games in a season over UNLV because of the fact that Duke tends to go deeper into tournaments than UNLV does over the past 10 years or so. So, um, so you're probably going to see Duke take over that record, but it's not. But the way that the way that this is, um, it's probably something that probably you uh, won't see too often. So, but it is a an interesting record that um, is no more for Iowa State. So, um, just taking a peek at something here before we continue on here. Um, so that was the record that is no more for Iowa State. So now this next story, I found out about this a week or two ago, and I kind of got into a YouTube rut, a YouTube hole, and um, I was looking every once in a while, and I would see something from a guy out on the West Coast named Brody Brazil, and like the reason why is I was getting a grip of some of the things that were going on with, like, for example, Tropicana Field and some of the different things that are going on. He even did a video within the last few days about the Sixers uh, backing out of the deal for the arena on Market Street. Well, I became aware of this law that was in place since the mid 90s. Now, I thought at first it was just a Cleveland law, but it's actually an Ohio state law. But the city of Cleveland has filed a lawsuit to stop the Browns from leaving their lakefront stadium and building a dome stadium in suburban Brook Park. Now, I'll get into this get into this law here in a moment, and the origins of it and everything like that. But the thing is, I think that the intent was for an Ohio team to move out of state, not just outside of their local market, because Cleveland is only moving about 12 miles to the south, and they're moving outside the city limits, but they're still going to be in the metro market. So it isn't like they're going to um sound like they're going to to Baltimore, or they're going to they're not going to St. Louis or San Antonio or anywhere else. They're still in Ohio. But the only thing is, they want to have a dome stadium, probably with a translucent roof, so they can have football games there, and also big concerts, big events, soccer, and probably even NCAA Final Fours. And that was speculation with what Jeffrey Lurie did here in Philadelphia, because the link is about 20 some years old. Maybe he's starting to get some capital so he can build his own stadium with the roof, so Philadelphia could get a Final Four the same way Cleveland wants to do it. And like some of these other football stadiums are getting those stadiums. Like, for example, um, for example, Arizona had it recently, Minnesota had it recently at US Bank. Um, I think there's going to be one in a couple of years in Vegas. You know, if you got a new football stadium, you're probably going to get a Final Four on top of a Super Bowl. So, but but you do have um, but you do have this interesting law that's in play in the state of Ohio. The suit filed Tuesday in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. Cuyahoga County is the county that Cleveland's in. It seeks to invoke the Modell Law to stop the Browns from moving. The state law says any professional sports owner who uses a tax supported facility for home games and gets funding from the state or a personal or a political subdivision cannot leave unless it gets permission to play elsewhere or gives 6 months' notice. Well, and you'll find out in a second, the lease with the city expires at the end of the 2028 season. So they have said it's not going to be until after the lease is over. So if the lease is over, that's where you get into this gray area, and everybody's asking judges for rulings on certain things that we'll get into. But so in October, the Browns announced they informed the city of their intentions to build a 2.4 billion with a B state-of-the-art stadium and entertainment complex in Brook Park, which is in the same county but 15 miles south of Cleveland, when the stadium lease with the city expires at the end of the 2028 season. So, just by reading that paragraph, it seems to me they're giving 3 years notice, 3.5 years notice that at the end of 2028, we're going to have our own stadium in Brook Park. So I think that they are meeting the law by giving the city of Cleveland a heads up that, hey, we're building our own stadium here. So at least that's what I say here. But probably when the city cites different things as well, I can probably agree with that too, because I'm not a lawyer. I don't even want to be one. But I will give you my thoughts on what I think and all that, and go from there. So the Browns announced they informed the city of their intention. Oh, I read that already. Duh. So the Browns owners, Dee and Jimmy Haslam, have been seeking a 50-50 private-public partnership for the construction of the stadium. The Haslam said in a statement the intended move was the result of trying to find the optimal long-term solution for our stadium. That's that's nothing they can use in court, but I'm sure the city will find a way to use it against them. So the Browns also filed a lawsuit in October seeking clarification on the Modell law. Now there is precedence in this because um, this was passed in 1996 after the first iteration of the Browns moved to Baltimore. It was used to prevent the Columbus Crew of Major League Soccer from leaving for Texas. The team stadium was bought by the Haslams, who were also part owners of the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, the suit filed by the city of Cleveland says that the Modell law requirements are straightforward. It provides that if a team takes taxpayer money, which they did, and plays in a tax supported facility, which it is, then the owner must either obtain the city's authorization or give the city and others an opportunity to purchase the team before moving the team away from that facility. So that's where you get into a situation where this is turning into he said, she said. I'm glad I'm not a lawyer, not a judge. So, and the thing is with this stadium, you know, it's designed specifically for football. So, after this, who knows what you're going to do? Obviously, you're probably just going to tear it down and do whatever with it. But But they played at Huntington Bank Field, which used to be Cleveland Brown Stadium, and a couple other names as well. Since 1999, when they returned to Cleveland as an expansion franchise. I'm sorry, expansion, finger quotes, because they got to keep the Browns' history and the move of Cleveland to Baltimore. It's in the record books as an expansion franchise, which it really wasn't. Um, but it's very interesting because both sides have a great point there, and I think the Haslams aren't necessarily moving them away. And I'm making cities up because, stadiums that still kind of exist or do exist but don't have NFL teams, moving them to St. Louis, moving them to San Antonio, moving them to Oakland. They're not moving to Oakland, definitely not. But, well, it would be fitting because the Oakland Browns and they have sewage problems there. But um, so both sides have a point here, which makes it very difficult for the judge, I would think. Um, but the thing is, their their lease is up in 2028. They're advising ahead of time that they're not going to renew that lease, but this could go both ways. So so in early August, the city of Cleveland offered the Browns a $1.2 billion proposal to renovate Huntington Bank Field, their current stadium of 65,000, and redevelop its surrounding property that would have included $461 million in the city. They also offered a 30-year extension of the team's lease. Now, of course, we're at the point now where they want to go to Brook Park and blah, blah, blah. So the Browns have played on the shores of Lake Erie since their inception in 1946. The stadium was built in 1999 when they returned as an expansion franchise. And once again, finger quotes, because they got to retain the history of the franchise. So, but and that's a great thing with this is, once you find out what's going on with everything, it turns into a great debate because, it'd be, well, I believe in this, but what about this? You'd be going back and forth, and it's a very interesting topic here. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised either way. But, um, but yeah, it's be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, if they want to build their own stadium, let them. It's not like the intent of the law. The intent of the law was the that the team would not move out of the market to Baltimore, St. Louis, Oakland, San Antonio. Um, we know that they won't move to Baltimore, but you get the idea. That was the intent, not that they don't move outside the area. But the problem is, you don't judge on intent. You judge by the letter of the law. And the letter of the law is saying everything there that says you can't do this. So so they may have to just, they may even have to put a roof on this stadium, which in a way I wouldn't be opposed to because, the way that the stadium is set up, it's set up north, it's set up east and west as opposed to north and south. So when it's east and west, you have it going from you have the sheet going from the left side of the field to the right side of the field, which is annoying as hell because everybody goes from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen for the most part. But um, but when you have, you know, I mean, you can talk about what the intent of the law was, you know, and you have You have past practice in here as well, but but they're not moving out of the market. So, but I think because of the letter of the law, they're probably going to have a hard time building that stadium. But uh, but we'll see what happens over the next, whenever this is decided. I'm sure it'll pop up on my timeline as well. Um, so I apologize for going in there. Now, one thing I do have here, and I did say this, and we were talking about this we were talking about this last night, and Mike was responding. What's wrong with him? I just think he's a prima donna receiver. Now his numbers have dropped over the last couple of years, and he probably was getting the ball some in Carolina, but they probably, I don't even know if they actually, if Carolina said, hey, we're going to send you to Baltimore, even if they don't use you as much, you got an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, got a chance to help them out. Well, he been moped around and got released by Baltimore, went to Houston, got released yesterday. Well, here's an update on Diontae Johnson. And, you know, kind of like the old game show on PBS, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Well, in this case, where in the world is Diontae Johnson? Well, he's probably on his couch wherever his house, where his home is. And I'm pretty sure that nobody's going to be breaking into his home because, he'd be sitting there every day, or at least we think he would be. But Diontae Johnson was claimed today, and breaking news, he returns to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, there is some things, and this is probably some stupid stuff that happens. Stupid. It's not stupid shit that I know material, but it is an interesting thing and a smart move by the Baltimore Ravens. Um, he was waived by Baltimore earlier in the season. He was claimed by the Ravens one day after the receiver was waived by the Houston Texans. That was announced today. He will not officially move to the Ravens until February 10th because, it'd be an unfair advantage because, you can manipulate the system and say, oh, well, I want this guy because he's done for the year now. Well, you can't do that. So the day after the Super Bowl, he becomes a Raven. Now he qualifies as an unrestricted free agent. Now, by claiming him, and this may be a loophole that the NFL might have to close up here, the Ravens will have a chance at earning a compensatory selection for the 2025 draft, depending on I don't know. Now, Johnson was waived by the Texans on Tuesday, and sources told ESPN's DJ Bienami, at least I think that's how it's pronounced, nor do I care, that Johnson had asked for his release. The receiver was visibly upset in the locker room after the Texans wild card. It says here wild card playoff. Wild card playoff victory over the Chargers. He was sitting fully dressed in his locker and staring in frustration because of lack of playing time and targets. Now, here's the thing that he doesn't realize. He kind of got that in Carolina, but the thing is, he had the whole off season to get ready, the OTAs, the training camp. He was getting the ball there. You basically got to earn your way back into there, and you got to realize that, hey, I might be better than Zay Flowers. I might be better than Bateman. I might be better than that. Well, you got to prove it, and you can't just say, "Give me the ball." You even have to earn your spot on the roster, which he didn't do. I mean, some of the antics that he pulled, um, he was suspended after he refused to enter the game against the Eagles. That's a no-no. Oh, I'm not going in. Fuck that. Well, guess what? I mean, look what happened to the Niner that walked off the field. You're gone, but we're going to suspend you the rest of the year so you don't get picked up by another team. So, um, you know, D'Amico Ryan's yesterday. I said it again last night. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Um, Now they had suspended Johnson for refusal to play against the Eagles. He had been acquired in a trade from Carolina, but he only played 39 snaps for the team. Um, Now the Panthers acquired him from Pittsburgh when he had 30 catches and 257 yards. But he, he just, I mean, the numbers were declining as well, so it could be a myriad of things. It could be another star on the roster. It could be this. It could be that. Stuff like this happens where your numbers are not the same, and if you're going to go to a new team, you have to earn that spot, and you're not giving the coaching staff an opportunity to figure out how to use you in the offense. If you're not going to do that, then just don't show up. I mean, just don't even do that. So, but but yeah, it's well, I mean, I can understand why he would be frustrated, but um, it's basically something that they just don't. I mean, he had an opportunity, and hi SJ, hope you're doing okay. But um, it just, I mean, it just makes no sense, and and in a way, that's a smart move by Baltimore to pick him back up so that they can get that draft pick. Because little did they know when they released him that he would be released again, but it didn't. I'm doing well. How are you? Huh? Huh? Hanging in there for the best sports news. Well, you missed an hour of it. We started early tonight, Ashay, because the golf show. Hey, hey, hey. You know what? I am going to make you come down for the parade around February 11th or 12th, maybe the 13th, whenever it falls. Now, granted, I'll have to play sick, but maybe I make you stand there in Eagles gear at the parade. But I don't know. I'll think of something devious. But yeah, so just well, if you remember, you did show me some other pictures I can use as blackmail. Just remember that. Okay, okay. I'm only kidding. I'm not going to use it against you. Uh, and she gives me a snowflake. And did you see that we may be getting a snow game here in Philadelphia on Sunday? Now, um, one of the local stations here in Philadelphia, they sent out a news alert that they were promoting their weather forecast for the news, and they said yesterday we're looking ahead to Sunday where there's a chance of snow for the Eagles game. But I can tell you right now, it's not going to be a big storm, which probably means it will be a big storm. So they're only, from what I see right now on the trusty weather phone on the AccuGuess forecast. And by the way, I got to change it because I had Hallandale Beach there because we'll be at Gulfstream Park in a week. Um, say what now? That's going to snow? Well, also, I'll let you know that, you know, there were a couple of times in high school. There were a couple of times in high school, and this is because I went to a private high school, and when we went to the private high school, um, with the private high school and everything like that, we had kids from all over the area. So it wasn't like my friends, they went to an archdiocesan school or they went to a public school, where you'd only have to walk up the street to go to school for the most part. In our case, you had kids coming in from a couple of counties away. So a couple of times they called snow days in my school and it never snowed. It's like, oh well, we lost a snow day, but it's like, yeah, I don't have to take that test today. So, but um, but yeah, and I'm sure that you never had uh, a day where you had a snow day and never never snowed. But then again, you're further north from me, so you get a lot more snow than I would. But that's just my opinion. But they're saying right now. Oh, and I'm also going to give you some updates as well. Um, so when I go to Sunday here on my phone, a high of 35 and a low of 23, and the snow is going to start around 2:30. The snow ends at about 6:30, and that's for Sunday right now. And they're only saying 1 to 2 inches right now. So it's not going to be a major storm, but you will have a little bit more than a snow globe effect on the game. Uh, so you may get a little bit of snow here, and Eagles are a running team, and got the best offensive line, and also I did see today that I did see on my Facebook today that Lane Johnson is motivated for this game because he had better stats this year than the Rams counterpart his position. The Ram player got first team All Pro. Lane Johnson got second. So, um, oh, and SJ is sending me a post here. Farting can be healthy. Well, geez, well, get me some, get me some chili. Get me some chili. I'll put this lamp on. I'll put this lighter on, and we will have an indoor fireworks show. It lowers blood pressure. Well, then why is it that I had high blood pressure all these years when I've been farting like Hurricane Katrina, or name a Cat 5 hurricane that hit Florida or Louisiana or anything like that? You know, but yeah, I understand that, but And like she says, she's laughing so hard she's crying, and she's dead. So, um, so since you weren't here at the beginning of the show, I do want to give you some updates here, SJ. And anybody that came in late here on X as well. So I think it starts Monday, and it's not it's not because it's Martin Luther King Day, and I the interview with the Bleacher Brothers show was in the first half hour of the show when I was working, so I might even have to rewatch it. But Top Fan Rivalry, which is a baseball group, we're going in partnership with them, so they're going to have shows. I believe it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Definitely Monday at 11 p.m. So that means probably starting next week, I will have a hard out. Not a hard on, a hard out. And I said that on purpose because SJ will be dead after that statement as well. But but seriously, um, we are. But so there are going to be nights, and it's probably going to be 3 to 4 nights out of the week. I will have a hard out for my show. So if it is on Wednesday, I'll probably have a 1 hour show and go right to them, or maybe at 11 o'clock we pull a Pat McAfee and say, oh yeah, if you want to continue watching this show, you got to watch exclusively on Twitch. So uh, probably more with the probably more experimenting I'm going to be doing over the next few days, or well, from Saturday to Wednesday while I'm on vacation before I head down to Hallandale Beach, um, well, Palm Beach, whatever, and get ready for horsey action for the Pegasus World Cup at um, Gulfstream Park. So that was the big news I wanted to mention there, and some of the things that you see there on the screen. We finished up the Diontae Johnson story. Um, just give you a summary of what was going on here, SJ. Oh, I also talked about the fan. Well, Quinn Ewers declared for the draft. Arch Manning will take over next year. A crazy streak that ended in college basketball. Iowa State did not hit a three last night. The first time in 30 years they did not hit a three in a game. That's the women's team. The Browns are sued by the city of Cleveland. There is a law called Modell's Law where a team has to give the city that they're in or the state uh, a heads up, 6 months heads up that they are planning to move. But the city can force the team to sell. But this law was in place because the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore, and they wanted to make sure that no professional teams that are taking money will go to another city. So this all was put into play, and the twist is they've already gave the notice, and both have already sued. The Browns want clarification on the law. Browns are the city suing because they're moving from Cleveland to Brook Park, which is about 15 miles south of the city. So they're not even leaving the market. They're just going to another stadium that they want to build. So, um, so it's an interesting thing. And I found out about this a couple of weeks ago about this law because there's a great YouTube channel by Brody Brazil. Brazil is in the country. First name Brody, Brodie, has some great content on there. I was watching a lot of the Oakland A's content when they were going down to their final days, and then the initial stuff that they were saying about Sacramento, and he had Tampa Bay Rays information. great stuff on there in a 15-minute format. Probably something I would like to do in the future, like these 10 to 15-minute format things that I could do. But it takes a lot of work because he has a lot of graphics on there and everything. But just a poor man's version of it. Um, but yeah, it's great stuff that they have on there, and just give me an idea what's going on there. So, and I did talk about this at the beginning of the show. It's not on the ticker. Um, um, the guy, Ryan Caldwell, who was the guy who dropped the C bomb on that Packers fan from Chester County, Pennsylvania. Well, he apologized today. And I'm not sure if you saw my comment on my Facebook page, SJ. Um, and I will get to that in a second. I said he's only apologizing because he was caught on camera, he was ID'd, and he was fired. And you're saying exactly what I said. He was wrong, but I don't think they showed the whole story. And the thing is, you could, and I say this about any viral video, whether it's a cop beating up on a pedestrian or a civilian, I should say, or anything like that. It's like, well, what did the what did the civilian do in the 30 seconds to 5 minutes before that? Like the one good thing about the Tyreek Hill viral video is you saw pretty much from the first point, even before, well, actually, if you want to call pulling him over the first bit of contact between the police and him, you see from the very beginning that Tyreek Hill's not cooperating. And I said before, I'm going to say it time and time again, both sides were wrong. So but that's exactly what I said. Um, it didn't tell the whole story, and um, it's you know, and the thing is, do I think there's more? Obviously, but the one thing is, with these stadiums, how they're built now, anybody wearing a body cam is a score. Yeah, true. Um, that's what SJ said, by the way. Anybody wearing a body cam is asking for it. So now, the one thing is, we don't know what's going on, and the only way we will ever find out what happened is if you see the security cameras at Lincoln Financial Field. And I guarantee the Eagles are not going to release that information. But, and since you've been um, at the Barclays Center many times for the Libbity Bibbities of the WNBA, you were at the NBA All Star game, and you've been at Yankees games numerous times a year. They do still have that text line if, let's say, I were to call somebody a row in front of me the C word because they're wearing Packers gear, right? They still have that text option as well, right? Where you can just covertly hide your phone, make it look like you're texting your buddy on the other side of the stadium and stuff like that, but here you're reporting the guy. They still have that text line for trouble, right? And I know what she's probably going to say before she types it out. I never noticed it. But there are ways, they can look around and and even if they did do that, you know, but it's just interesting that And like SJ said, it's only a part of the story, and some people are calling for that. And there's also a story that I saw where uh, the male who was taking the video, I mean, even though he was smart and not getting violent with that fan, because a Green Bay fan going after an Eagles fan, you're going to have about 50 Eagles fans swarming him. Whereas if it's Eagles fan on Eagles fan, they'll be like, ooh, ah, something like that. But um, you know, we don't know what he was doing, but from what we know, it's a smart move because guess what? You're not going to get your ass kicked, and and he would be in the wrong because oh my God, even though Philadelphia has their reputation with Santa Claus going back to 1969, I think it is, but I think even if what he was saying is true and they did not provoke him, okay, but still, but the thing is, even if you're just provoking of, hey, we scored a touchdown, we're back in this, that even if it's just that set him off, if it's just, hey, look at that, we scored a touchdown, and he said, no, you didn't, blah blah blah, and they dropped the c word about 4 times, you know, just saying, hey, look, we scored a touchdown. That's not c word worthy, but he only apologized because he got ID'd, he got fired, and he was recorded. Now, here's one question that I had last night, SJ, and hopefully Caldwell does not see yesterday's show and he does not see today's show because I had an interesting point here, and I definitely don't want to call local sports radio because I don't want to give this guy any ammunition if I can. Now, in the state of Pennsylvania, and I looked this up for a reason, and this wasn't because of the story, it's because I was thinking nefarious things. I'll tell you about that off air. Um, in the state of Pennsylvania, both sides have to be notified and made aware that you're recording a conversation. I do not know if this applies to video like this. So I don't know if he has a case against that Packers fan because of it. Now, I'm hoping he never sees this. Of course, she's going to Google and prove me wrong. And that's fine. I don't care. But it's just speculation for some fun talk here because I don't know what you do in that case. But I know that um, I don't know if this would fall under wiretap laws. I think it's under Pennsylvania wiretap laws, um, but she's going to Google it now, and she'll prove me wrong. But that would be if I were to get into an incident and something like that happened with me, and like SJ and I said um, a couple of times, I think Mike even said it. Um, it is so easy to find out where somebody works at. You know, and the thing is, in my case, even though you can still find out that I work at redacted company, even though I work there, whatever, you can still find it out. You'll have to take some extra steps, but you'll eventually find out. But, you look at my Facebook page, I only mentioned I work at the Joe Quill show. And part of that is because on Facebook, for the contract negotiation site that we had on Facebook, which I think still exists, but it hasn't been active in the last couple of years because the collective bargaining agreement was extended well before it was then. Um, you do have a lot of, um, you have you had a lot of people, and one of the requirements of the group was if you have any mention of the redacted company in your bio, you know, as your workplace, you were kicked out of the group. And I never posted my employer on there. I think I have on there that I work at the Joe Quill show, and I have my Drexel and Holy Family information on there, and maybe St. Joe's Prep for high school, uh, but that is an interesting question that I lay out there, and I hope Ryan Caldwell does not catch wind of this show. I hope he does not have family that eventually watches this. Nobody catches this podcast, but it is an interesting thing there because um, but it's just an interesting thing that just me questions, and I I think it does not apply. I think somebody said that to me in the past, but it would definitely be something that I would challenge in court if I was to go that route with uh, what happened. But that's just me, and I'm sure I'm wrong. But and I also saw this um, yesterday, and I gotta pull it up because it expired yesterday. Um, Let me see if I can find this here. Um, as soon as I find this here, um, because there is one thing I want to show you guys, um, and while SJ is looking there or decides to give up, let me find one thing here. Okay. So now I can do this here. So here is a crazy stat with the NFL playoffs here coming up this weekend. So this was yesterday on I found this on Instagram. I'm sure SJ saw this yesterday. Matter of fact, I can see. Um, okay, SJ did see this. And I find it funny that I had a couple of fart jokes. I had a couple of burping and farting things yesterday on my Insta story. And the Pennsylvania Derby was sharing my stuff. Uh, yeah, so SJ couldn't find much about that, but I do want to share this here. So this is from CBS Sports and NFL. The NFC head coaches left in the playoffs all have ties to Andy Reid. John Harbaugh was the special teams coach in Philadelphia. D'Amico Ryans, who he faces this Saturday. D'Amico Ryans played under him for a year in Philadelphia, a year or two. McDermott is the defensive coordinator in Philadelphia, and Andy Reid is Andy Reid. Now I know SJ did see that, but um, it did say that she saw it yesterday on my Insta stories. But interesting thing about this playoff, these playoffs, that the four remaining coaches in the AFC, the head coaches, are all tied to Andy Reid. So in some way, shape, or form. So um, so that is going to be it for this show here. SJ, thank you for trying to do the research. Um, that's probably something that probably let's rephrase it. Let's hope that Ryan Colwell does not watch this video, nor his family. But SJ, thank you for joining me, and appreciate you, and that I mean, you're someone that I lean on, and I take your advice. Um, I take your advice to heart, and we are going. I did say this yesterday, early in the show. I am going to do some tinkering and testing next week during the day, and we'll do some fun stuff with um, that won't be Joe Quill show type stuff, but we talked about it, and we'll we'll do some things. We'll have some fun, and we'll go from there. So, I mean, I don't have a time yet, but it's probably going to be exclusively on my Twitch. So go to twitch.tv/Joe Quills and subscribe, because that is my preferred platform. And also, when you have a night like this where you find out at 8:50 that there is no uh, you know teabag in the Tijuana, or whatever that golf show is called with Chef Tom. Uh, you know, let's just hope when I go to Del Mar at the end of October, beginning of November, they don't take me to Tijuana. But um, but yeah, so last minute I find out, oh, he's not doing a show. I'm like, I guess I'll start early. So, but usually Wednesdays are going to be the shorter shows. So, uh, but but I do appreciate everybody on X, uh, on YouTube, and on Twitch, especially SJ for joining me here tonight. And we'll do it live again tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. I will give you my picks for the weekend, and also just a reminder, also eligible live on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And we will look at the fairgrounds as they have some big races there. So that's it for now. Do appreciate everybody, and I will see you um, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Good night, everybody.